Welcome, everybody, back to the Nightcap after a few weeks off here. Just me and Dylan holding the fort down. Matias had a kind of a last-minute work trip thing show up this week, so he's off. But we're back after like a month off, just with random dumb shit going on. What you been up to, Dylan?
Not a whole lot. We haven't been here, but like you said, not a whole lot going on. So
yeah, it's been strangely enough, it's been one of the quieter off seasons for Iowa State in general in a while.
Well,
post spring. Yeah. Winter was fucking hell.
Yeah.
That sucked. But since spring, been pretty quiet. I mean, because if you go back to 2020, before the 2023 season was when the gambling thing happened.
Holy moly. That was a fun off season, though.
Yeah, that was a wacky off season.
Yeah, if you want to call it fun, I guess.
Yeah, it was newsy, I guess is the way to describe it. And then you had 2024, which was the realignment, adding Arizona and Utah and all that. So that was that whole thing. And then obviously the previous off season you had a bunch of other bullshit going on, and now we've got finally sort of a quiet-ish true off season for, I would say, our summer season, if you want to call it that. Whenever you say that the off season actually starts, because now with the transfer portal now being all the way into January and in February, and then you have spring ball right after that, the off season, maybe you could argue, doesn't even truly start until like May. It's just like May to the beginning of August, and that's just what it is, type of thing. But beer.
Is that where we start?
We'll start with beer.
Because I always believed, and everyone hated, and no one else believed. I was a believer.
I would say I was skeptical on the basis of I didn't think it would happen under Jamie. I figured at some right, and not only did he say no, he said we had a moral high ground to protect, and then he said anybody that wanted beer was a slob. So that is why I did not have a lot of faith it would happen under Jamie.
You got to know your audience, man. That's just a terrible line.
Yeah, read the room. Read the fucking room, man. But I figured that at some point it would become it's definitely going to happen, and just with how money hungry college football is right now. Not that it hasn't always been money hungry,
and
but
basketball,
football, everything, any revenue source you can find is good. Whether it's a little bit of money or it's a lot of money, any revenue source you can find is good. Not
to mention beer is the largest margin of any good in the world.
Yeah, it sounds like the early projections from the vendors and stuff like that was that I would say is expecting to net about $1 million. On beer in this. I kind of think they'll probably beat that.
If they have enough.
Yeah.
They might run out.
Well, yeah. The other kind of interesting part, one, for anybody that's going to be buying beers at Jack Trice, you can expect stadium prices, $13, $15, $16 a beer for a tall boy or something like that. That's just how it works. That is the economics that make it worthwhile for Iowa State, and you're just going to have to be okay with it. But it's beer, and then they're also doing pre-made cocktails, I think, stuff like that. So it's not just Busch Light's your only option. There's other options there. Beer, I think it's beer, wine, and then pre-made cocktails. But the other kind of interesting part of this too is that as there's a number of pieces to that, but the main condition for all this was that they got rid of people leaving at halftime to go back to the tailgates, which I know some people have really done a lot of pearl clutching the last couple of days about that, because that was just a pastime for them, and it's oh man, I loved going out to this. It's I get it, but that habit is a holdover from a much worse era of Iowa State football, back when they were just always bad.
I hated leaving. The games I go to, I'm I don't want to walk out there and walk back.
Well, and also
half the people don't come back.
Well, that's the part of it is they used to just not come back. Now they come back, but it takes them halfway into the third quarter. So you're playing the entire first half of the third quarter with half a crowd, and it's stupid. Like there's no reason to do that. And the other part of that too is like leaving the game to go to your tailgate and then walk back in is a privilege of the people that that tailgate right next to the stadium, which are the richest donors. Wherever. So like me out in C3, that ain't like walking back to the tailgate is not remotely feasible. It would, I mean, I'm not sure if I would even get to my vehicle by the time halftime was over, and then I'd have to walk all the way back, and I just, there's no point. I have seen some questions here about what beer there's going to be. I can tell you right now, it's probably not going to be Ames Lager. Yeah, maybe eventually, but right now, I think you're going to go with your big distributors. You'll have probably Busch Light, Bud Light, the staples. You'll have that stuff. I don't know, maybe like Mick Ultra or something like that.
Yeah, Mick Ultra, Miller Lite,
you'll have the staples.
Yeah, the domestics. Maybe a Guinness. A Guinness would be cool.
Guinness would be awesome. It's not happening. Guinness would be sick as hell. They're not doing Guinness. And as far as like
a little chilly out, and nice fall, like 45, 50 degrees.
Yeah. And they might do seltzers or something like that. I don't know what's all going on there. I mean,
Yuengling's possible. It's more possible than Guinness.
It's more possible now than it used to be. Now that Yuengling is in the state, but it's still mostly just in bottles and cans right now. I think like there's not a ton on tap. I don't think. I'm not sure exactly.
Well, I would assume there's going to be bottles and cans.
Yeah, I guess I don't know for sure. I
like the concession stands will probably have taps, and then there'll be those little carts set up that have like.
Well, so it sounds like they're not doing any selling in the aisles. Like you're not going to have a guy going, beer, beer. You're not going to have that.
But like they set up like those little mini concession stands that just have like a beer cooler. And they sell like cans there.
Sure. Yeah, so they may. I'm not sure exactly what the plan is. Said left at halftime in the ASU game to grab a poncho from my car, got back running line. And that's good that you were able to do that. Now you'll just have to take the poncho in with you, and just if you don't need it, you don't need it.
Well, I think he was talking about how you said you couldn't make it there and back. Like it.
Well,
like it wouldn't be where even if
you're just ready to go get a poncho, that's one thing. But if you're like going out to take shots and shit like that, you ain't making it back. I like getting rid of that rule. I like you said, and I'm in the same boat. Like I didn't want to leave anyways. I was just going to stay in the stadium, walk around or whatever, just chill, watch the band or whatever. And I think this is a good habit to force Iowa State fans to get out of, to get back into the seats right away at the beginning of the third quarter. It is, like I said, it's a habit that's a holdover from when the football team was so bad that you really didn't want to go back in.
So you said beer, wine, and mixed cocktails, pre-made cocktails. No,
that's what the release said.
No Prairie Fire or its lesser counterpart.
Yeah, I don't think as of right now that's probably unless our friends down at the Iowa Distilling Company down in Cumming are getting into the pre-made cocktails business. I don't think they'll be available at this point in time. That's also you'd also need some crazy volume to be able to supply a college football game. And they do a good job down there in Iowa Distilling, but they'd need a bigger warehouse for that.
Shooters, man. Prairie Fire shooters.
And I'm curious because like there wasn't any they shoot shooters out of the t-shirt cannon. They're just big. They have the t-shirt cannon, but they're just shooting tall boys. But
I feel like I got to be there for the first game in Beerland. I feel like I should lead the team out like Stone Cold, like smash beers on my head. I got to feel like that.
You might have to make a call on that one. I'm not sure if you got like a number in the building anymore, but like you got to find somebody in there. If you get like,
I know I call every phone in my contact book, and I'd be going to State College.
Start making calls, and all of a sudden it's like shit. All these calls go to Pennsylvania now. But yeah, so I think this was a no-brainer that was always coming down the line at some point, whether it was with Jamie or not. But they got it done. And that's like I'm assuming it'll be fairly tame this year. Like it'll be like I think it's a tent on each corner of the stadium basically, at the end of each of the main concourses, and then there'll be a beer garden on each end of the stadium to start the game. I think.
I wish I was a fly on the wall in the room when Jamie got forcefully forced into agreeing to this.
Well, the interesting part of this is because Jamie is saying or has said that like the no beer thing was not necessarily his opinion. It was that like it was from the university itself or from donors or something like he which feels like that feels kind of sketchy, because if that were truly the case where he was like either ambivalent on beer or even supportive of beer, but like Wendy or somebody like she didn't want it, or like some big donor didn't want it or something like that, he didn't have to say that there was a moral high ground to protect, or he didn't have to call people slobs that wanted to drink
and that's what I'm saying. That seems like a personal opinion, and then maybe it didn't go over well, obviously, with the audience, and he backtracked it a little bit. I don't know. It's
like all he really had to say is like, we don't see the beer. Like he could have just said like, we don't see beer as a good fit for our athletic events right now, but we may consider it down the road type of thing. Like he could just said that and just left it alone.
No, you could even lie and say like, we won't make any money doing it. Like you could just straight lie. Yeah. Instead of like, tell us the truth and tell us
instead
that
of being
slobs.
Like, fuck you idiots.
We don't want to know the truth.
I mean, it's like it's the same bit about how like when Campbell was asked about the restaurants in Ames like a few weeks ago or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, it's a food desert in Ames," and he's like, "You didn't need to say that. He didn't ask you. That's not the question he asked you. He asked you, did you find a restaurant in State College you liked? He didn't ask you if you hated the restaurants in Ames, but he said it anyways. It's like you didn't need to add that. But anyways, that's I don't know if we'll ever know like the full story publicly. We will never know the full story of how that whole thing happened and why it took so long, things like that. I would imagine that, I don't know. See, the process to get this ready to go would have had to start happening probably before President Cook took over. I mean, they've been testing out beer in the stadium for the last 2 years at the big concerts they've been having.
We could credit Campbell probably.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's an interesting one. If Campbell's the head coach at Iowa State right now, do we have beer?
I think so, because like I said, so last year when they had the George Strait concert, they had beer. Apparently it was kind of a disaster, but they had beer, and they had at the Luke Combs concert this year. And the prevailing belief is that
if that was big enough, like players and coaches and everybody leaving, that it was a scramble to find some kind of money or not.
Me, I don't know. I don't think so. It seemed to just based on, like I said, them having beer at the last couple big country concerts at Jack Trice. I kind of think those were like test runs, basically, to just figure out how it's going to work.
Yes, Rayner can play 2 seasons for Iowa State.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that here in a little bit. I guess we can kind of go to it whenever, but we're going to be talking about the new eligibility and stuff like that, because I don't know how much it changes the equation for basketball, but for football, it absolutely changes a lot of things as far as how this thing's going to work. But yeah, so as far as the beer goes, my guess is, like I said, they're doing the one on each corner of the stadium to start with, a beer garden on each end. And then Hilton will have beer. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do that in Hilton, but my guess is that if it goes well, they expand it maybe to wrestling. I don't know about women's basketball. Wrestling feels like the next obvious, like, third place you go sell beer is wrestling meet. But we'll see how they expand it. Like, I don't think you can expect to really probably ever see beer at like a softball game or a soccer game. I don't think you'll ever see beer at one of those, because it's just,
yeah, I mean,
you're just not going to sell enough of it.
Those should be BYOB anyways.
They should be. Yeah. But so I wouldn't expect it there, but maybe they do it at wrestling at some point if it goes well this year. Yeah, beer at a wrestling meet would kick ass. And maybe you say we don't offer offer beer at wrestling meets because the fans are already insane. I don't know. Have you ever been to a wrestling meet, Dylan?
Yeah.
They're batshit crazy. Everybody in that building.
And I'm pretty much, I only went to like the poppin' ones. You know what I mean? Like I only went to like when it was going to be.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes, but we've got beer in Jack Trice Stadium. Hallelujah. Let's talk now about the new eligibility stuff that was approved just this week by the NCAA's cabinet, or rules cabinet, I think is what they call it. Basically, we have now is 5-and-5 eligibility. the rules are now that you have 5 years to play 5 seasons. There are no red shirts anymore. Red shirts no longer exist. The clock starts either when you enroll or it starts at the beginning of the school year following your 19th birthday. So what that does... I had a
question about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my birthday's in November.
Yes.
So my clock starts in August the following year.
Correct. So your clock would have almost started when you were 20.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's where your birthday, if your birthday falls on July 31st.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right.
But what this does impact here though, as far as, it will shut off what you see with like the NBA with the G League guys and some of these international guys where they're coming over at 23, 24 years old.
Corey Dunn, Matt Leo.
Yeah. Those guys are kind of no more. They either got to come over earlier or they're not coming over type of thing. So Australia with their football developmental stuff that they have going on over there, they will have to probably accelerate their clock a little bit as far as getting their athletes ready to send to the United States. We do see like Australian punters and kickers that can come over a little bit earlier, but if you have like a Matt Leo, who's just a big athletic dude and wanted to try rugby or Aussie football or something like that for a little bit and it didn't work out, they just have to make that decision earlier and say, hey, I don't have a future in this, so I'm going to just train for American football and I'm going to jump over now because that's just when the eligibility clock starts. But it also, like I said, it also prevents what we're seeing in college basketball where you have guys that were drafted in 2022. They play in the G League for a couple of years. It doesn't work out and they just go back to college. That is gone. Mostly.
But like already asked for guys like Jalen Rayner, he has 2 seasons of eligibility now instead of 1.
Yeah. So this is not, so the people that players that graduate or that not graduated, but athletes that utilized all 4 of their playing years as of the spring of 2026 will not get an extra year. Like if you were out of eligibility 2 weeks ago, you are still out of eligibility.
No. For the new rule to apply, you have to be eligible to play this season.
Correct. But what that does mean is that Jalen Rayner now has 2 years available to him instead of 1. Braden Alls will have 2 more years available to him instead of 1. Now, this is assuming that he would use his medical red shirt, which I think that's the prevailing opinion, is that he would use a medical red shirt, come back for the 2027 season. Now he would have available to him, I believe, a 27 and a 2028 season. If he plays well in 27, he's going to go to the NFL, but theoretically that could be available to him. It also makes a few other guys like an Isaac Terrell or Bobby Terrell on the defensive line would have an extra year of eligibility.
Red shirts, and you may not even know this, so I might have to like dig into a little bit. So red shirts are obviously no more like the traditional style,
right? But
medical are,
as far as I know, medical red shirts are still a thing.
So what is there if you play one single snap, you can't medically redshirt, or there's got to be some kind of like.
My guess is they would probably maintain the same
like
cutoff.
4 games.
I think it's 4 games. Like for football, it's like 25% of your regular season is where the cutoff is.
Because is there any world where like a guy like Alls, I mean not him, but like in that same situation, like say you tear an ACL in winter conditioning or whatever, if you want to play in like the last 4 games, but then you still redshirt that season. I don't know. We'd have to look into that.
Yeah, I'd have to look into that. I'm honestly just kind of guessing on the medical redshirt thing. I'm not 100% sure. So that's kind of the other tricky part there. No matter what, Braden Alls will have an extra season available to him, whether it's via medical redshirt or just his extra year of eligibility.
Right.
But I was trying to see if I could find something, but I don't. So it eliminates red shirts and waivers, but that's just talking
we got one here.
Regular red shirts.
From the chat,
It may apply to guys who played last year and before, but anyone starting out this year will not be able to get a medical red shirt. Okay, so I think that means that Braden Alls will just have 1 more year, like just in general.
I mean, with that wording that he said, he would be a guy that would qualify for medical redshirt. It's anyone, any incoming
last year and before.
Yeah, anybody who's played under the old rules could be eligible for one.
Still get their medical redshirt.
But anybody who is starting college now couldn't.
That's tricky with Braden because theoretically, if he did not apply for a medical redshirt, Braden Knowles would be out of eligibility now. As soon at the end of this season, Braden Knowles would be out of eligibility if he did not apply for a medical redshirt. Obviously, he's going to do that if it's available to him, or he would just have his 5th year of eligibility. So I'm not sure. I would need some more clarification on that.
So this is interesting. So current and incoming athletes, schools can choose to apply the old rules or the new 5 and 5, depending on which is more beneficial to the athlete.
So
class of 2027 and beyond is.
So, okay, so no matter what, then he's got 1 year because if they apply the old rules, he'll get his eligibility via a medical redshirt. If they apply the new rules, he'll just have a 5th year of eligibility.
So I think it's just one. I don't think you can stack them.
He's going to play in the 2027 season, and then that's just going to be it.
Yeah.
Okay. So for him, it really doesn't matter, except for he just doesn't have to do the paperwork now, I guess.
Yeah.
But the big one here, though, is Jalen Rayner. He will have an extra year of eligibility. He will be able to play not just this season, but also in the 2027 season. Now, this changes, I would say, its equation at quarterback a little bit because the assumption was Rayner was playing 1 year and he was done. And then maybe next year it's a Moberly or a Flores. Maybe Hudson Curlin's ready to go, but probably not because he would just be a redshirt freshman at that point under the old rules. Now he's just going to be a second year, a sophomore. I don't know what we're going to call the 5th year. We need to come with like a new name for the 5th year now, since it's just like you just call him a grad student now. But maybe that's what you just call it, and see a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, graduate. Maybe I don't know.
You did have questions about exceptions too. I do see, because this is applying to women as well.
Sure, yeah.
There are exceptions for pregnancy, military service, and religious missions.
Yeah, so BYU service academies, yeah, they get their exemptions.
BYU is going to win 5 natties because they're going to have like 25-year-olds, and everyone else is going to be 21.
They're going to be the only team that has players 5 years older than everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this one, so if you're chronically on the trainer's table, you're just out of luck. I mean, you kind of just always were anyways, but you could keep getting medical redshirts, but usually you can probably comment on this more than I can, Dylan, but as someone that's gone through injuries in your career,
I actually didn't miss games.
You didn't miss games, yeah. But there are plenty of guys that after they just spend enough time injured and just can't play, they just kind of say, fuck it.
Yeah, that does happen. But Daniel Jackson, I mean,
he's still playing.
I don't know how old he is, but I played on a team with him for multiple seasons, I think.
I think he was in the 2020 class. So you would play with him for one season. But you played with him for a season and he's still in college. Yeah. Yeah. And so he's gotten multiple medical red shirts, and I would guess, I don't know, but I would assume he's probably an outlier for every just Daniel Jackson. Yeah. For every Daniel Jackson, there's an Andrew. There's 5 Andrew Kellers that come in with promise. They have a couple years where they just can't get healthy. A third year where they get hurt again, and they just say, "I'm just going to be done," type of thing. I don't know if it's 1 to 5 or it's 1 to 1.
Yeah,
but so to a certain extent, a lot of times if you're just forever on the trainer's table, being out of luck. I mean, that's just kind of how it is sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are pretty much every injury I ever had was completely unavoidable, like breaking stuff, tearing stuff. Then you got the guys that are just always out for pulled hamstrings or stuff like those are you can kind of manage those if you take care of yourself, but you're just snapping shit. You can't really help that.
Yeah, I guess I would assume they would be more likely to give you a waiver for a broken leg or something or a torn ACL than they would for I was out all year with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, I pulled my hamstring, played one game, pulled it again, played that stuff is probably a little harder.
Yeah, but if you just fucking snap your leg in half in the third game of the season, just kind of is what it is at that point, you know.
Right.
Well, and there's the other part of this too. There's a comment on here about, you know, now that they're getting paid, it's a little bit, you know, do you think that changes the equation at all? Like now they're getting paid and not an insignificant amount of money, you know. Do you think that changes the equation on like?
It's a double edged, right? Because you could say it's hard to feel bad for them when they're getting paid, but like. Sure. Now that guy has lost a year of opportunity to make more money. Like, I don't know. It goes both ways. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't say it's.
There's a lot that goes into the pay that I think we're gonna see a lot of trickle down effects that people didn't really like intend on happening. And I mean, we've already seen a bunch, but.
I mean, look at the COVID year. Everyone thought like, oh, that's just a quick fix, and just like, oh, that just gives people the extra year they should have been able to have. And it's just like if it seemed like it was a quick fix, but the COVID thing fucked everything up for like 5 years.
We're just now out of it. Yeah,
I think we're just now finally out of people. I think Daniel Jackson may be the last athlete in the NCAA that had a COVID year available to him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I hadn't signed an NFL contract, I could have went and played for Iowa State last year. Technically. Like, I don't think you're allowed to go back. I don't know.
Well, I don't. Did you actually? Because you took snaps like in a game though, like in a regular season game though, right? Or did you?
Yeah. Oh no, preseason.
Just preseason. I don't know if that would matter.
But I think
probably.
Yeah, and obviously I'm fucking broken anyways.
Well, but like theoretically, if you were healthy, like, well, because like you have NBA guys that just play in the G League, and then they've been sort of like kind of been able to come back, but not really.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if I was in the building through like an entire contract.
Yeah,
so that's I don't know.
I don't know.
It would be weird, especially with NIL. It's like, well, I only made like NIL money, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't think saying like I don't feel bad for them because they get paid now. I don't think that's the way I would approach it. It's more just like I would think of it more as like because it used to be if you missed out on a year to this and you couldn't get a waiver, it's like that sucks because that was your chance to play and you just lost out on a year to play college football, and that was like the thing. That was the reward for everything going on. Now you can at least say, well, I didn't get a play, but I did get money out of it. Like,
guys, the scenario was all theoretical. I'm completely broken. I can barely walk. I can't play football.
Dylan missed a podcast a few weeks ago because his back hurt too much.
I can't play football anymore, but theoretically, you know, that's
also Dylan, I don't know if I'm seeing these. Am I seeing some grays here?
You might be. I don't know.
I think I'm seeing some grays here on your right side.
Maybe
a couple there. Not that I'm shaming. I've got a nice little gray streak over here now, but
yeah, definitely too broken. But it was just interesting to think about. But
you did have a nice groundswell of support there, though. For a second.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a summer league thing. Like I was in the building for years,
right?
In New Orleans. So
yeah. I don't know.
The UFC career, dude. If they let me fight in like the lightest weight class, I maybe would think about it. I'm not getting in a cage with John Jones. Like I'm just not doing it. I don't. I don't care.
To die.
if I'm fully healthy, how much money they're going to pay me, I don't care. I'm not getting in a cage with John Jones. I'm just.
No, most
or any of the heavyweights, really. I mean, there's not any.
Yeah. Maybe they do they do get a league specifically just for like guys that are medically retired from football.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of guys that can barely move, swinging at each other.
Bunch of full retires.
Carter wants to know how you got to be so broken. Also, very young picture of Dylan right there in the profile picture.
That was like Facebook profile pic, 7th grade, I think, something like that.
There you go.
Yeah. I completely blew my back out. It was a bad deal. Like,
did that happen with the Saints, or did it happen?
Yeah, with the Saints. And like, I think I was next to Jameis and Pete Werner, who's a linebacker, and like I couldn't feel my legs for a while till I got to the hospital. They carried me out of there on a stretcher, and then the next day I was in the training room, like we're trying to schedule surgeries and stuff. And Pete walks up and he goes, "Are you good, man?" I'm like, "I don't think so. I'm going to have surgery today." But he's like, "Dude, not only did I audibly hear your back and it was disgusting, I saw it like through your shirt. Like I could see your spine breaking through your shirt. Like it was a bad deal." Ugh. The funniest things I've ever heard from Jameis are not allowed on air.
Can you pick anything that he said put on the internet?
There's nothing that can be aired.
Shout out to Jameis though for living his best life in the offseason, commentating on the World Cup and shit.
He's awesome. That guy's gonna make more money doing that than playing football.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it. He's gonna be really good as just a
and people just like him. Yeah.
I was going back up through the comments, see if I missed anything. Oh, where Daniel Jackson transferred to? I'm actually not sure. But anyway, so the 5-5 thing changes. I would say it's quarterback situation here. Jalen Raynor is going to be around for a couple of years. Now, I would assume Zane Flores transferred to Iowa State under the understanding that, like, after this first season, like, he was going to have probably like the inside lane at getting the starting job for 2027. Now, if Jalen Raynor, decides to use his last year of eligibility and he plays well this year and plays well enough to retain the job and to be the starter again in 27, how does that change Zane Flores' equation here? Because you would assume he came here thinking he'd have a couple years to play. Because by the time 2028 rolls around, I don't know if Connor Moberly would still be here or not. But at minimum, he'd be dealing with Hudson Curland, who would be off of his second year in the program going into his third. He'd have 2 down, 3 to play. And Zane Flores would have 1 to play. I think he would just have 2028 to play. And would Iowa State just go with Hudson Curlin in that point? And then would Flores lose at, does this screw Flores out of 1, 2, or even maybe 3 years of starting quarterback, because it created the bridge year between Raynor and Curland that you needed, where Flores might have been able to step in 27 and keep the job for a few years because he plays well, and then Curland steps in later in his career. I don't know.
I wouldn't. Yeah. By the way, no Daniel Jackson news. I can't find anything. But will the quarterbacks become a revolving door? And he says like the Rhodes era. Now, honestly, we had a bit of a revolving door in the Campbell era as well. Like until Purdy,
Brock, yeah.
Which was only, not even half of the Campbell era. So
the thing is that there was a streak there for a while where Iowa State, for like 15 or 20 years, Iowa State was changing quarterbacks on average every like 5.9 games. Like, it was bad for a long time. Austin Arnaud was a starter for quite a while. And then it went back to kind of a revolving door. And then Jacob Park came in for the 2016 season and split duties with Joel Lanning. And then 2017 rolls around, Park is just the out and out starter, and then that whole thing flames out after 4 games.
And then Kemp was the second half of that season,
and then got his shit torn up against Iowa against 18.
Then he went down the beginning of the next season, and then it was Zeb
for 2 games, I think.
Yeah, or like
because he played against Oklahoma
at home and actually slung the piss out of it.
He really did. He was
he was toe to toe with Kyler Murray. Like it
was pretty impressive actually. Yeah. We were like, okay, we got a dude here. And then then he played really bad against TCU.
Yeah, and then we go to Oklahoma State, and like as kickoff was happening, I've told this story before. Campbell and Golish walk over to the tight end bench, and they're like, "Hey boys, whatever happens after the first drive, we're going to roll with Brock." And we were just like, oh, God, we're fucked. Like, we're so screwed. Like, he had never taken a snap with the ones, I don't think, ever. And all we'd seen him do is, like, fumble the ball behind him trying to throw it.
Do some goofy shit in practice. And you're like, well, fuck us, I guess.
And then he goes out there and he's like, pump fake, high step into the end zone. I'm like,
What the
Who
fuck?
is this kid?
like that because his first ever touchdown throw was the rollout and he hit Hakeem Butler in the back. Yeah. That was like the cockiest first touchdown throw I've ever seen in my life. I was like, what the fuck? And then
he didn't have anything to lose, I guess.
And then later in the game, he did the pump fake and took it in from like 25 yards out. And it's like,
yeah,
what the fuck is going on here? We're all, what do you mean? We're all watching
like
at home.
Throwing his helmet at halftime. He's like cussing at us and shit. I'm like, all right, that's our guy. That's him.
Dude. That's the guy. Fuck it. Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, I can't find anything on Daniel Jackson. I don't know if he just didn't find a spot in the portal or what, but doesn't appear. Anyone ever happened to Jacob Park? I believe he tried his hand at a few smaller schools and it didn't go well.
I think I remember seeing that. I think he had a crazy stat line one time. I remember us looking up.
Yeah. So I was trying to find, let's see. I'm going to pull him up on Sports Reference here and see what we got. Okay. Well, we got nothing after 2017, but I think he played at like an FCS school or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what happened to him. Because if you go to like his 247 page, it still shows him as at Iowa State.
Missouri Southern State.
Missouri Southern State. I think he was kind of not great there.
Well, this one game they're talking about, 36 of 59.
That's so many passes.
With 4 touchdowns, 519 yards.
That's pretty good. That's a good game.
Yeah. I can't see like the rest of the stats, but
Jacob Park is always a fascinating case study on how much leeway you're willing to give on something. Cause like the guy had like objectively an NFL arm. Like,
oh yeah.
Like he was like, if he had Brock Purdy's brain with his arm talent, that's a first round quarterback.
He was athletic enough. Like,
yeah, absolutely. He had that like Aaron Rodgers athleticism where he wasn't going to blow you away, but he was just a good enough athlete to just do what he needed to do type of thing. And if you gave him Brock Purdy's brain with that arm, he's a first round quarterback, easy.
He had a tackle. He was a punter.
He what? You're shitting me.
No, he did punt it twice though.
Oh, they gave him like a pooch kick or something like that. Yeah.
2 punts for 57 yards total.
That's like
here we go.
That's better than the low end of Corey Dunn.
3,403 yards.
So he actually did kind of sling it at that Missouri school?
Percentage 50.21%.
Okay, well that's not great.
21 touchdowns, 24 interceptions.
It's not great. It's not
and
awesome.
only 1 tackle. On 24 picks, only 1 tackle, dude.
24 picks and 1. Yeah, actually, you know what? Usually you're not looking for tackles at your quarterback. You know what? But that's not enough tackles for how many that's not enough tackles.
Holy moly.
I'm not sure how many tackles I want my quarterback to have, but if he's going to throw that many picks, I want more tackles than that.
They did have some sweet like neon unis like Oregon.
Did they? Yeah, that whole thing was kind of wacky. We had I don't remember how, but we had somehow heard like on Sunday before the Oklahoma game that some shit was going down or whatever. And we just sat on it all week and we're like, well, we're fucked. Like just is what it is, I guess. No, when Kyle Kemp was getting ready to play, going to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We were like, well, this is over.
Yeah, because I guess like nobody even knew who the fuck the guy was.
No, we had no idea. I mean, you guys obviously knew he was ridiculously smart and stuff like that, but
we knew he was smart, and we knew he had been in college football for a while. We also knew he had never started a game
since high school. Yeah.
And we knew that, like, honestly, I was surprised with how he played in the games he did play, because I never thought, like, before he started playing, I never thought he would have had near enough arm strength. And I mean, he didn't have crazy arm strength, but like it was enough.
It was good enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
When your quarterback has good enough arm strength, you can work with it. Like
And he made the right decision like 95% of the time.
I mean, it's great if you have a guy like Jacob Park that can just whip that shit 75 yards off from a standstill. But like, if he's going to throw 24 picks and 21 touchdowns, you'd rather take Kyle Kemp than that one. And honestly, like Kyle Kemp just being accurate to short and intermediate distances and just making the right decision is exactly what helped the Oklahoma game happen. I mean, on top of Joel Lanning doing fucking everything, but like, could Jacob Park have even gone out there and won that game the way Kyle Kemp won that game? It's
probably not.
I don't know. Kind of a crazy what if. Like, what if Jacob Park had kept his shit together? Like, does the 17 season work out the way it did? Does it?
Well, he would have been, I guess, 2018 probably still would have been his last year.
I think he would have been around for 2018 still.
That would have been
him with like prime Hakeem Butler would have been kind of fun.
I mean, he had Hakeem and Allen and Marchie.
He did.
And Matt Eaton.
He did have no shortage of weapons available to him. Granted, Hakeem Butler in 2017 was just shy of the height of his powers, but
I mean, he had a lot of wide receivers. We didn't have the tight ends. Like we weren't.
You were all young as shit.
Yeah, we were playing, but we weren't like.
Well, you were like all freshmen and just blocking and shit like that.
Yeah, actually, I played quite a bit more than actually Charlie did. Charlie redshirted that year.
In 17 he did?
Yeah.
Did he? Did Chase play? Chase played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played quite a bit more, though, just because it was blocking.
Blocking, yeah. I'll tell you what, though, that 2017 Iowa game, though, Dave Montgomery in that 2017 Iowa game was the most
beast mode.
That was the craziest shit I've ever seen. Like, if you had to ask me to go like pick like one game to just go rewatch one dude in, I think that's probably the game I would pick.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then you had the whole Baylor thing where they like tackled him through the Gatorade coolers, and then
I remember when he punched a dude in 2019.
What's his name got thrown out? Nips.
Yeah, Josh Kniffel.
Yeah. He got thrown out, and then they were like, "Oh, we got the wrong guy," and then they throw out David. So Nips runs on like he's fucking WWE, and the crowd goes nuts. And then David starts running off, and everybody's like, "Oh, no,
go back in, no, take the lineman."
Yeah.
Which was funny though, because then Texas was the next week, and David had to miss the first half.
Yeah.
But then he came out second half. Like, I mean, that was harder than I've ever seen him run. He was on a mission that second half.
He's gonna have a big year this year, I think.
I think he is too. I love him being in Houston there. I think that's a great fit for him. That whole stretch there was kind of, looking back on it, that 2017 to 2019 stretch was just wild.
How was he the team captain? How often does team captain not make 5 games in the season? Well, when you vote for a team captain, it's kind of hard. Like, you got to have a pretty shithole of a human being to not vote your starting quarterback as a team captain most of the time.
Fair point.
Like, and it's not like any of us thought he was, gonna fucking lose it completely. Like,
right.
I don't know. I can't remember who I ever voted for, but I also felt like the votes were just, and you've heard this term before, the votes were kind of a facade. Like, I feel like they let us put their votes in, but like the coaches are just picking.
Campbell just picked 4 guys. I'm trying to think who would have been in 2017. Probably what? Jacob, Allen, Spears, and Jaquan Bailey, maybe? Or was Jaquan too young at that point? He was still in the shithead phase.
I think he was still in the shithead phase. I mean, you remember the Texas game? The one where...
Yeah. Because I think it would have been Matt, Allen, Joel maybe?
Yeah.
Matt, Allen, Joel, and
Marcel.
I think that's probably who I would, or Brian Peavy. Maybe.
Yeah. There's more than 4 there.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, we've had like 5 or 6 captains sometimes.
I mean, my senior year, I think we had like 11.
I think so. I think actually sounding you had like a half the fucking offense out there half the time. So I can't even remember. I can't really honestly remember I was at the eligibility thing. I can't even remember what that was a tangent off of. But long story short.
Well, now he's asking what happened to Jacob Park.
Oh, how much of that can you share?
I mean, I don't even really know. Like, you guys saw him, and if you were at the game, you maybe didn't see it, but everyone who wasn't at the game saw him cuss out our head coach on national television in a Thursday night primetime game.
That's not going to help anything. Fucking bugle helmets.
Yeah, that was a bad day in general because of the helmets too.
The gray pants and the bugle helmets.
Dude, I mean, we walked in the locker room like, what the fuck are we about to put on?
Yep.
At
least they eventually figured out and put the cool Cynado on there instead of the dumb fucking bugle. But
yeah, I don't really know. I mean, there were drugs involved.
That's kind of like the people have heard that part of it, but
yeah, but like that's obviously him and Campbell were not getting along, and drugs and just decision making and I don't know.
Yeah, like, just not fitting the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a weird deal. I would say it's got a weird history with quarterbacks, because then you got like the whole, which he'd been before your time, but the mythos of Steele Jantz. I'm sure you've probably at least heard that name before.
Yeah.
Kind of an interesting dude. We did an interview with him a few years ago. He was there from 2011 and 2012, and he was a god for like 4 or 5 games at the beginning of the season. Then they just traded off with another quarterback named Jared Barnett for a while. But after the 2012 Liberty Bowl, he hopped in like his Lincoln and just right back to California. Didn't even go back to Ames. Just drove home to California from Memphis.
That would be cool if I could find that clip.
And he either joined in or started a towing company with his family. All of which his brothers have kind of funky names. The only Jantz brother that does not work for the towing company is Truck Jantz. But yeah, the week 3 Heisman winner of the 2011 season, basically. Yeah,
we've had a couple week 3 Heisman winners.
Yeah.
Hell, Rocco was.
Yeah. Yeah, through like three or week 4, I would say last season, Rocco was like getting like dark horse Heisman buzz because he was so good, and then obviously that whole shit just.
How does Levi know all that? Because he's old.
That, and also I just talked to Steele Jantz, and he told me all that. He told us all that on a podcast in 20. Actually, would have been on probably the 5th or 6th episode of the Nightcap back in 20. I want to say 22 or 23 whenever we started this thing. It was like the 5th episode, because the first ever episode of the Nightcap we had Dave Montgomery, and it was Dave Montgomery and just chilling in the background was Deshaunte Jones just hanging out at David's part. Deshaunte wasn't like on the pod, he was just hanging out at David's in the background. We're like, got Deshaunte back there just chilling. But yeah. Because then we had David, and then we had, I'm trying to think who was next. I don't remember the order, but we had David, we had Alan Lazard, we had John Walters, Keith Murphy. We had a bunch of guests right in a row. That was a fun little stretch there. We're gonna try to get back and doing some interviews at some point, but just got to figure out what that does. I mean, if we had like contacts on the staff, I would love to do like a casual interview with like Tyler Roll. I think he'd be an awesome podcast, and awesome podcast interview, especially for like something like more casual like this thing. It'd be a fun one to do, but I don't know if CW will let us. He probably wants Roll for a regular CF pod.
I was trying to find that clip of Park and Campbell, and the first one that pops up is the one where Jaquan gets the sack
and does the little somersault thing. Classic. Yep. That was I'm glad like the rest of his career panned out and he turned out to be a really, really good player, because you'd hate for that to be like the defining play of his career.
Dude, that headshot we had of Jacob Park was It was an interesting one.
Oh, it's not a good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I had just pulled him up here on I'll put him up on stream. His picture on the on the website is not awesome. Let me see if I can. Well, I'll pull it up here.
Bro, these uniforms are disgusting.
They're not great. Where'd Jaquan end up? Jaquan is on a NASCAR pit crew. Actually, he's been doing that for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now. But yeah, so Jaquan, I think he got some camp invites and didn't quite stick around in the NFL. But then he went to there's a program that exists. I don't remember what the name of it is, but there's a program essentially that takes guys that don't quite make the NFL and they put them on a NASCAR pit crew because they're huge, strong dudes that are good athletes. Yeah, so there's Jacob Parks' picture on cycles.com. That is a crazy picture. I don't know who told him that was a good look. I'm surprised. I'm shocked nobody stopped him from running that thing out there, but that's no good. So yeah, Jacob Park, everybody. But yeah, so where can we listen to the Monty and Jance podcast? So if you go back into this into the CF After Dark's YouTube channel, way back in the archives a long time ago, you can find them back there. They might be in the live stream section. I'm gonna see if I could find them someplace in here, but I think they were 2022, 2023, maybe, long time ago. Let's see here. Here we go. Yeah, so it's in the live stream section. Actually, I just might have just found it here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Unfortunately, they're not very well labeled back then because we kind of didn't give a shit. So if you go into the CF After Dark YouTube page and you go to the live, there's our pod with Jake Knott there. So if you go into the live section under the CF After Dark page right here, this goes back into the old, the old WRNL days, way back when. And if you go back far enough, there's old Aiden White right there. If you go back far enough, there's Scott Christopherson right there. I had a bunch of revamp streams. George Condit, few of the walk-ons from the Iowa State, from the Prom years. Let's see if you keep going back. There's even more back this way. If you go back to the early, there's Keith Murphy, John Walters, EJ Bibbs. Shout out old tight end room. Jake Knott there. That if you guys are not familiar with just kind of the Jake Knott story and just what what's all gone on with him since he left Iowa State, I would absolutely recommend watching that whole podcast. I mean, it's 5 years old now. That was 5 years ago. Holy shit. But this was an amazing podcast to listen in on if you guys are interested in his whole story. Oh, Don brought up Nick Bassett. You remember Nick Bassett, Dylan? I don't know if you met him or not.
Yeah.
He was a cool dude. Fortunately, he passed away in 2020. I want to say 2023 or 2022.
Was it that late?
Yeah, it was after COVID. Let me see. I'm trying to think because I'm still friends with him on Discord, and he's still his account is still in the Discord. I think it would have been early 2022. Yeah, because his last message in the Discord was in November of 21, and I know he died. I think he passed away the next January or February. I think so. It'd have been. I think it was February of 2022 is when he passed away. But yeah, Nick was awesome. He came to our tailgates, and Nick was just an awesome dude. But yeah, so Matthias is he has a work thing tonight. But anyway, so I was fine here. So how Josh Lenz didn't have a year or two in the league. He actually did. Josh Lenz stuck around in the NFL for 5 or 6 years and was just on a bunch of practice squads and stuff like that. You're episode 8 here with AJ Klein. Back here on 7. I'm not sure what episode 7 would have been. who's on the show for 7. It is just a general episode. I went back to the top. Fuck me. Well, it's back there someplace. It's literally one of the first episodes of the entire of the nightcap. If you go back to these OG episodes back here, there's Alan Lazard on number 6 right there. Fun part of the Alan Lazard one is that night was the night that we put out the article. We put out a satire article that day saying that Fran McCaffrey put his own son in the transfer portal. And that night you can watch the moment that I get the email during that Alan Lazard interview where I got an email from Iowa's SID telling us that we were supposed to take the article down and that they were going to they were going to send us like a cease and desist or something like that because of that article, because it was blatantly untrue and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, no shit, it's untrue. It's fucking satire. So that was a whole saga. There's episode 4 of it was Steel Jance right there. So episode 4 of the nightcap way back when, if you want to go watch the OG Steel Jance interview, there it is. There's number 3 with Josh Lenz. There's 2 with Kyvan Gadsden, and then number 1 there with David Montgomery. So that's the first ever episode of the nightcap way back then with Dave Montgomery. So fun little trip down memory lane there. I haven't seen those episodes in a long, long time.
I'm determined to find this.
Were you trying to find
the Jacob Park? I don't know when it was in the game.
Oh, it's just him cussing out Campbell. Yeah, I'm not sure because I would imagine to be late, 3rd, 4th quarter, somewhere in there. Think you have a chance to get any current players on here? I don't know. For a couple reasons. One is that we're part of we're part of the CF, media sphere now, and generally speaking, like if you're going to interview like a player, it's going to be more like a serious-ish interview, and that is going to be more of a CF type of interview than it would be CF After Dark. But that's not to say that we couldn't do like a more fun, casual interview with a couple players or something like that. The other part of this is that, I'd have to look into this. I don't know if players are getting if they're getting an appearance fee basically just to hop on podcasts. I mean, I'm sure they are in some capacity. But I don't know. I don't know if we would need to pay an appearance fee for Jalen Rayner to come on the podcast or something like that. I don't know exactly how that works. So a couple different reasons, but I would guess probably not for a current player. At best, I think the best case scenario is maybe if you could get an assistant coach to come on, but again, that's probably more of a CF thing than a CF After Dark thing, but I don't know. We're still figuring out exactly what the division between After Dark and regular CF, exactly where that line is all the time, and what we can do versus what they can't, what they can do, what they can't do, what we can do, what they can't do, and like what type of content makes more sense on CF versus CF After Dark, that kind of stuff. We're still kind of feeling that out a little bit. So, get Heft and Walters on at the same time would be a fun pod. We did have John Walters on a while ago, but obviously early on, 5 years ago, but Heft would be a fun one to get on if we could get that. And that might be a doable one to get Eric Heft on the pod. But yep, I don't know. There's not a lot else going on in the Iowa State sphere right now, which honestly is an okay thing. Now, we haven't heard of any like major injuries since the Alls injury. We didn't have an O lineman blow his Achilles in the middle of June like we used to all the time. It's pretty easy. Who's a dream guest? Oh my gosh, it's a great question. It's a great question. So it depends on what kind of interview. Like, that's an excellent question. I don't know if I have a dream guest. I have like a few people I would definitely want to do a pod with. Like, I'd love to talk to Sam Richardson. former Iowa State quarterback just before you got to Iowa State. Called him Sunshine Sammy. And I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer that if he had played under the Campbell staff, he would have basically been Brock Purdy or better. But he just, they misused him. He wasn't even really a dual threat. He was like a Rocco type of dual threat where he's like, he can run, but he's not like a dual threat necessarily. But they just ran him. And he was just beat up and hurt all the time. And it was stupid. Really horrible management there by the staff. Another guy I think would be interesting. I'd be very interested to hear from RJ Summerall. It's kind of an older name. It's a pull from the late, he'd be late McCarney, early Chiswick years. Actually maybe he wasn't even an early Paul Rhodes guy. Chiswick wasn't here long enough. He could have been all three. But he was a really good receiver at Iowa State, and then he stuck around, and I believe he's the team chaplain now. But I'd be kind of interested to hear what his perspective is on just kind of everything, and because he's been around Iowa State football from McCarney all the way through to now. He's one of the few people that have been here for the last 20 years and has seen all of the change. So I'd be just curious to see what his perspective is on everything. Hunter Deckers would be
I give up. That's such a hard thing to find.
Yeah, it's just to find that one little specific moment. Yeah.
I found where he shoulder checked him walking off, but I can't find the blow up.
Yeah. I think it'd be cool to have a Todd Blythe would be fun to have on. I would be looking for guys to talk to that were when I was growing up, Brett Meyer, Todd Blythe, Nick Mosier, that era of people. I think it would be fun.
I did just watch the whole Texas game. We should have won, actually.
Oh, we should have. We absolutely should have won that game despite how bad the offense was that night.
Our defense was fucking good.
It was crazy. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Here, I'll just say dream podcast guest Tyrese Halliburton. I would love to have Tyrese Halliburton on this pod.
Really?
Are you surprised by that?
Kinda.
By Tyrese Halliburton? I would say it's chosen basketball son as of right now.
I guess because he's new, he's young. I don't know. I think
he has reached higher heights than any other Iowa State basketball player ever, and even just in his short time in the NBA. And he's also an electric personality. He's such a good dude, and he's super fun to hang. He's just a fun guy.
Yeah,
he would be perfect for this type of pod.
No, I've been to parties with him.
Yeah, fun guy, or not a fun guy? I don't know. He always seemed fun.
Yeah.
Or George, George would be fun. We did interview George a long time ago, back in the old Blog Talk radio days for a podcast. But for on this type of show, we haven't talked to George or anything. Naz Long would be a fun one. Matt Thomas, Monte Morris, all those guys would be from that era of Iowa State. Melvin Edgem would be a great guest. But Melvin Edgem would have been just before you. He would have graduated in 14, I think. Or even, 13, 14 was his last year.
Yeah, but I know all those other guys you're talking about.
Yeah.
But, Burton, I don't know.
Oh, Deontay Burton.
I don't really know his personality, to be honest.
He's pretty quiet. The joke with Deontay Burton is everybody know
Cam Lard.
Everybody in college knew somebody that was hooking up with Deontay Burton.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So anyways, I don't got too much else to cover this week. I don't know if you got anything else you want to touch on or.
Did you already address that Jamie Pollard needs to come onto the pod?
I didn't.
We waited how long for beer? You think Jamie Pollard and this podcast would mix well?
I'm pretty sure I have no confirmation of this, and I have this just a gut feeling. I'm guessing Jamie Pollard would probably at least recognize my face, and he wouldn't want to be on the pod with me because I've said some not nice things about Jamie Pollard on the internet before.
Jamie Pollard would probably. I don't even know if you could like force him to watch it, let alone join it.
Yeah, like I mean, he might have like seen it like scrolling through Twitter or something like that, but I don't. That would be an awkward conversation.
If he ever did, put like a whole stack of like cases of beer behind me and like 25 beers.
Put it this way: I would rather you interview Jamie Pollard 10 years after he's retired. I would rather talk to him then than I would like right now. But I don't know.
He gets a lot of shit, but he's got a hard job.
I absolutely like. I do not envy Jamie Pollard for his job at all.
Like when you really think about it, there's like way too many people that you have to try to make happy.
Yeah, I say his job sucks. Like I don't want his job. I would never want his job, and I certainly would not have had to do his job in college athletics over the last 15 years. No thanks. But that being said, he could have handled certain situations better. And if it happened like next week, that would probably be a little awkward. But if it was like 5-10 years after you retire, and you can take it, we've all had a chance to like kind of mellow out a little bit, cool down a little bit, and then be able to really look at it with good retrospect, good introspect, like that would be a much more interesting conversation, I think, especially because we'd have a view of how everything panned out, how everything aged after he left, type of thing.
People are asking if Lipsy's been drafted. We haven't been keeping up.
I haven't been paying attention to the second round at all.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, this is best thing that ever happened to Iowa State Athletic Department. I mean, probably inarguably, like that's true. Like he has guided. You can't take any of that away from him. But yeah, so I don't got too much else to talk about this week. We're trying to get back to a normal weekly schedule because in just 2 weeks, like 2 weeks and change, we've got Big 12 Media Days already, which Media Days is always kind of the unofficial start.
All this off-season stuff that like usually matters for us means way less because we don't know shit about fuck when it comes to our football team.
That's exactly right. We don't know shit about fuck.
So,
yeah. And so, I mean, we'll eventually get around to doing like position previews and schedule preview, like opponent previews and all that. We'll get to that stuff at some point. And also, I can tell you that we are currently, I'm currently gearing up with Marchie and Jordan Harris to get Down the Pipe up and running in ahead of this football season. For any of you guys that are new to this group of people, to the CF After Dark crew that didn't watch our stuff with WRNL, I've been doing Down the Pipe now for longer than NICAP, even since 2019. I want to say we've been doing it since quite some time, or 2018 maybe even. And it originally started out with myself, Marchie, and Cole Netton, which is where the Down the Pipe came from. And now it's evolved, and now it's myself, Marchie, and Jordan Harris, who was a linebacker at Iowa State at the end of the Paul Rhodes era, beginning of the Campbell era. And it's a good time. Having a couple, having former players on a pod is always nice. You get a good different perspective from just random fucking Monday morning quarterbacks like me and Matthias. And those guys are a good time too. So if any of you guys have not had a chance to watch Down the Pipe, I would absolutely recommend checking out. And for any of you that have been waiting to see it come back, coming soon, maybe next week or the week after. We're actually kind of in scouting mode right now, getting everybody up to spun up on personnel and all that stuff too. So we'll be doing deep dives and all that kind of stuff as well. So,
which we still don't even. I mean,
yeah, we're just taking shots in the dark at this point.
It'll be like probably like week 4 before we actually know.
Oh, yeah, at least that, yeah. Oh, Kirby Vanderkamp. That would be a fun interview. I like that name. Alrighty, I think we'll probably, unless you got anything else you want to touch on, Dylan, I think we'll wrap it up for this week.
Nope, that's it.
Excellent. I think we should have Matthias back next week for a full crew. Tomorrow night we'll have a stat draft. If you guys have not caught a stat draft yet, absolutely catch those. They're a lot of fun. You can play along with it as we're going. You get a random stat. We got to draft a team based on the stat. It's a great time. We'll have that. Austin Keeney hosting, myself. I believe Jake Brennan is on this one, and Nathan Brown will be your contestants. So that'll be a good time tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. You can tune into that. Otherwise, we'll be back again next week with another episode of the Nightcap. So for Dylan, our absent friend Matthias, and myself, everybody have a great rest of your week. Good weekend. Go Cyclones.